Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Comments of Yes.
Good evening, Judge.
Evening. Oh, I need file 2. Please. Thank you. Small file. I did. Good evening. I'm Judge Shayad, and you are
Cosita, Ramon.
Ms. Ramon. I have several things here for you. The state is dismissing the current drug charges. That is a dismissal without prejudice, which means that they may choose to refile those charges at a later date. However, I have quite a stack of misdemeanor files here for you.
What is that?
Go back to November 25th of last year for domestic violence, disorderly conduct, domestic violence assault, domestic violence criminal trespass, along with failures to appear.
But I came in here for that.
I also have charges from June 29th of 2023 for criminal trespass, disorderly conduct, failures to appear.
And that's why I was in here.
No, you're here because of the new charges, but I'm also seeing you on all of these, so. Then we have charges from June 29th of last year for disorderly conduct, assault, and criminal trespass. Along with failures to
So
appear.
everything,
Charges for criminal
Go ahead.
damage on May 26th of 23, criminal damage, failures to appear. Charges from March 12th of this year for endangerment, disorderly conduct, obstructing a highway, false reporting, criminal damage, failing to appear in court. And charges for possession of paraphernalia, possession of prescription drugs on July the 12th. And failing to appear in court. We'll reappoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you on these charges. Your bond is $500. If you post the bond, you'd abide by all of your previous conditions of release, which includes no alcohol or illegal drugs, behavioral health and substance abuse assessment and treatment, and you would need to appear in court on October 31st at 9 o'clock in the morning in Tucson City Court. If you do not,
October 31st.
if you do not post the bond, you'll be seen on video on October the 15th at about 1:45. Thank you, Ms. Ramos.
So I gotta stay here?
Yeah. Unless you
Why?
post the bond, because you haven't been
But
coming to
why?
court.
Yeah, but they stole my phone and they stole everything. You guys gave me.
You still need to come to court. Mhm. Okay, in jail, it looks like we've got the interpreter now.
Done.
Family?
The first one was, he's finished, because
Mr.
Correct. We're now going to a bunch of misdemeanors.
Judge, may I be briefly excused? I'll be right back as we get to families.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
muted. Yeah, this is Gammons, the Spanish speaker.
Yes. Yep. I know. Good evening. I'm Judge Chayad, and you, sir, are interpreter.
Jose Manuel Gámez.
Interpreter, we need you on this case. Looks like we've got two interpreters now. Neither of whom, there we go.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I apologize. Danitza is, I think, is having technical difficulties. And so she looks like she's logged on.
Right, but I need one of you on this case. All right, Mr. Gomez.
I am the coordinator, and I'm trying to work on Danitza with the technical difficulties. I apologize.
Let's get this one taken care of, please. Okay, so if you can interpret on this one,
I'm actually not the interpreter. I'm just the coordinator. I'm trying to work with Danitza right now.
oh, so you are not an interpreter, you're just a coordinator. Okay. Well, Denitza's on, but she's muted.
Hey, Danitza, you're muted right now. Can you unmute yourself, please?
This is still a misdemeanor, counsel.
Yes, Judge. I thought there was something enabled with the microphone, so I was just
No,
checking to see mic settings. But okay.
no, it's not on your end. It's the
Okay.
interpreter.
Okay, I'll be back then, Judge.
Your Honor, I'm going to log off and I'm going to try to call her directly.
Okay.
Your Honor, would you like to see the other misdemeanors and we can bring Gomez back?
That would be great.
Your Honor, this is a Spanish interpreter.
Ah, okay. No, bring it back. We're good.
Okay, I just got the link for tonight. I think what it was, an older link.
Well, plus you've been on for a bit and muted, but okay. All right. Good evening. I'm Judge Sayed, and you, sir, are
Buenas noches, soy la juez Chayet. ¿Cuál es su nombre?
José Manuel Gámez Degollado.
José Manuel Gámez de Goya,
Degollado.
degollado.
Sí, así es.
all right. I have a warrant here charging you with shoplifting on May the 18th.
Hay una orden de aprehensión que le hicieron el cargo por hurto en tienda del 18 de mayo.
Failing to appear on September the 11th.
Y por no comparecer el 11 de septiembre.
I'm going to appoint Carlos Betancourt to represent you on these charges.
Le voy a asignar a Carlos Betancourt para que lo represente en estos cargos.
Your bond will be $250.
Su fianza será de $250.
Your next court date will be Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon,
Su próxima comparecencia será el martes a la 1 de la tarde.
and you're not to return to the store involved in this case.
Y no deberá de regresar a la tienda involucrada en este caso.
All right, thank you.
Gracias, señor. Your Honor, I apologize for the wait. I had the old link, and then when I connected, I couldn't get the microphone working.
Okay,
Is this the only Spanish speaker for
No.
tonight?
no, we've got
Okay,
a couple more, but we've got probably about 10 or so people we're going to see before they bring those up.
okay, thank you, Judge.
One of them is a felony, so we definitely need to stick around.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I'll take over if you want. Whatever. Okay.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shea, and you are,
Claudia Garcia.
Ms. Garcia. Citations here charging you with domestic violence, disorderly conduct, and domestic violence assault. Yep. Your next court date on this matter is going to be October the 10th at 8:30 in the morning in the Green Valley Justice Court. Do you understand that you need to be present at that time?
Yes.
In the meantime, no acts of domestic violence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You need to look into, that doesn't give you much time, but you need to look into obtaining a behavioral health assessment. And anything, noting that the victim is online, anything further from the victim on conditions of release.
No.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
Hands.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shea, and you are
Dwayne Kent.
Mr. Kent. Citation charging you with domestic violence assault. Your next court date on this matter is going to be November the 5th at 10:30 in the morning in the Pima County Justice Court. Do you understand that you need to be present at that time?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are not to have any contact with Ms. Shipman. You're not going to go to her residence or workplace. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And be sure you appear in court.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Kent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening. I'm just saying, you are
Judicial attorney.
Ms. Carney. We got a warrant out of Pima County Justice Court for shoplifting, failing to appear. Your next court date on this will be on Tuesday, the 8th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Bond is $100.
Okay.
Adam Waters is appointed to represent you on these charges, and you're not to return to the incident location. I also have charges out of Tucson City Court.
Is it the overall warrant? So you said they already said.
Shoplifting,
Yes.
paraphernalia,
Yep.
failing to appear in court.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. You want to have a. Anderson Blue guys, thank you much. One of the trustees. I'll work with you. Thank you guys. Karen, come back in here. Yeah, whatever, sure, that's what it's, you're gonna get your always name right now.
Your next court date on this matter, you're going to be released on this matter, court date of November the 7th at 9 a.m. However, if you are still in custody, because you do have an adult probation hold,
Yes.
you'll be seen on video on November the 5th at 1:45. You're not to go back to 37 East Broadway. You understand that,
Yes.
right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Lena.
Good evening. I'm Judge Shade, and you are
Andres Molina.
Mr. Molina. I have quite a number of things. I have charges charging you with assault alleged to have occurred early this morning. Along with 4 counts of disorderly conduct, additional counts of domestic violence assault. Your next court date on this matter is going to be November the 5th at 10:30 in the morning in the Pima County Justice Court. Do you understand you need to be present at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
In the meantime, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no acts of domestic violence, no contact with Jacqueline Salazar or her family. You're not to return to their residence or workplaces. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor. I also have a question. We live in the same house, so how do
What do you mean?
Jacqueline and I live in the same house, so not at that residence, but we live together, so why?
You don't go back to where she lives. You can go back with police escort to pick up your personal belongings, but you don't go back to wherever she is living. Okay, if she's leaving the joint residence to stay at the residence where this occurred, then that's her choice. And once she does that, then you can go back there, but otherwise you only go back with police escort to get your personal belongings. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Molina.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. Yeah. But yes, at home. So when you go to this quick party, it's like a month in advance, and one far out, and we just sit there and say, well.
There's a lot of chatter back there. Jail, I can barely hear anything because there's so much background noise. Thank you. Good evening, I'm Judge Shayad, and you are?
Good evening, Josué Viramontes, Your Honor.
Mr. Viramonte.
Yes, ma'am.
Citation is charging you with domestic violence, disorderly conduct, and disorderly conduct.
So we are doing that. So. And I wish she had mentioned that. We're gonna have to go through the second credit. I just want to make sure.
Your next court date is going to be November the 5th at 10:30 in the morning in the Pima County Justice Court. Do you understand that you need to be present at that time?
Yes, Your Honor. Would I be, or am I gonna receive a message, or am I gonna get like a paperwork stating it's on November 10th?
No, November 5th.
November 5th, see, I'm already. That's why I need the paper.
The paperwork. In the meantime, no acts of domestic violence, no contact with Ashley. You're not to go back to her residence or workplace. If you were living in the same location, you can go back with a police escort to pick up your personal belongings.
No, I live alone.
Okay, and a behavioral health
Jesus.
assessment and any recommended treatment. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Viramontes.
Thank you for your time.
Davis. Davis. I said,
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you are?
I am Lee Davis.
Mr. Davis. Current citation charging you with domestic violence, criminal damage, domestic violence, disorderly conduct. Alleged to occur earlier today. It appears that on August the 22nd, you ordered not to have any contact with Ms. Hill.
Yes, ma'am.
Your next court date is October the 16th at 1:30 in the afternoon. If your bond is $750, if you post the bond, you need to appear in court. If you've not posted the bond, you'll be seen on video. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no accidental violence. Absolutely no contact with Ms. Hill.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
You don't go near her residence. If
Yes,
you have
ma'am.
personal belongings there, you can go back once with law enforcement to get those. Out of custody, behavioral health and substance abuse assessment and treatment. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And people who have us physical. I can see the. Screen that.
Yes. Evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, there are
It's.
Mr. Marcus, citation charging you with 2 counts of domestic violence, disorderly conduct, and 1 count of domestic violence threats. Your next court date on these is going to be November the 4th at 9 o'clock in the morning in the Tucson City Court. Do you understand that you need to be present at that time?
Yes.
In the meantime, excuse me, no acts of domestic violence, no alcohol, illegal drugs, no contact with your parents. Do you understand that? You're not to go through 3 blocks of their residence. Do you understand that? You have personal belongings there. You can go back once with a law enforcement officer. Thank you, Mr. Marcus. If you need help with housing, there's a transition center right outside the jail as you exit, and they can help you with things. All right? Well, I need files 8 and 9, please.
As
Good evening. I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are.
Control Randy Smith.
Did counsel wish to waive reading?
Certainly, Judge. Thank you.
I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you on these charges. Did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Yes, please, Judge. So Mr. Rainey Smith has no failures to appear in the last 2 years. He's only 26 years old. So for those reasons, we ask you to consider release. But if you're not inclined, a $5,000. Thank you.
Anything further, Ms. Summers?
Judge, I have nothing to add to the information in the pretrial services report and the things that I noted in my written recommendation.
Counsel, I would note that no failures to appear in the last 2 years really doesn't say a whole lot, given where he was most of those 2 years. Preliminary hearing, it's October
Yes, I understand.
16th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Bond is $20,000. If you post the bond, you'll be in a supervision of pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, absolutely no contact beginning right this moment. With Ms. Sims, you don't go anywhere near her residence or workplace. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd suggest you not discuss this matter with anyone except your attorney.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, I'm Josh.
morning.
There are
Miguel Michael Dickinson, Lee.
Mr. Duncan, I have an inner complaint charging you with third-degree burglary. Will appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and at either counsel wish to be heard on conditions.
No, Judge, as long as the court's willing to follow the state's recommendation, we concur with the state. Thank you.
Preliminary hearing date is going to be October the 28th at 1:30 in the afternoon. You'll be released to the third-party custody of pretrial services. You'll participate in monitoring and treatment as they direct, including no alcohol or illegal drugs, no contact with the alleged victims in this matter, and not returning to that incident location. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
We also have a misdemeanor warrant for drinking in public and criminal trespass, failing to appear in court. Your next court date on this will be November the 5th at 9:30 in the morning in Pima County Justice Court. Your attorney does not represent you on these charges. So if your attorney says you don't need to appear in court, you still need to appear on November the 5th. You need to comply with pretrial, including no alcohol or illegal drugs, and not returning to this incident location as well. You understand that?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan.
So, yeah, I won't be released.
Good evening, I'm just saying, you are
Tanya Garcia.
Ms. Garcia, warrant here out of Sarita Municipal Court. Charges of shoplifting that go back to August of 2020. Looks like you were supposed to be in court earlier this year and didn't appear then as well. We'll appoint Craig Becker to represent you on these charges. Bond will be $250. Your next court date will be on Tuesday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You're not to return to the incident location. Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
Okay. Thank you.
Roberts. Garcia. Oh.
Good evening, I'm Garcia, and you are
Aston Roberts.
Ms. Roberts. I have current citations charging you with domestic violence assault, domestic violence disorderly conduct, domestic violence threats. Because you were previously ordered not to have contact with your mother and not to go to her residence. I'm gonna hold you on a $250 bond and appoint the city public defender's office to represent you on these charges.
Okay.
Post the bond. Your next court date is October the 21st at 10 o'clock in the morning. If you have not posted the bond, you'll be seen on video on October the 15th. You're not to have any contact with your mother. You're not to go near her residence. If you're out of custody, you need to obtain a behavioral health assessment. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts.
Ballesteros.
Melanie? This is the DV agreement. You put 8:30, 10:30. I would double check. Good evening, I'm Judge Shade. You are
Buenas noches, soy la juez Chayet. ¿Cuál es su nombre? Merced Ballesteros.
Ballesteros.
Sí.
Citations charging you with domestic violence, disorderly conduct, and domestic violence, criminal damage.
Le hicieron el cargo de violencia doméstica, conducta escandalosa y violencia doméstica, daños ilegales.
Your next court date on these matters is going to be on the 5th of November.
Su próxima comparecencia por estos asuntos será el 5 de noviembre
At 10:30 in the morning in the Pima County Justice Court. Do you understand that you need to be present at that time?
a las 10:30 de la mañana en el Tribunal de Justicia, en el Tribunal de la Paz. ¿Entiende usted que tiene que estar presente usted en ese momento?
I need a verbal response from you, please.
Necesito una respuesta verbal por parte de usted, por favor.
Sí, ahí estaré presente.
Yes, I'll be there present.
In the meantime, no acts of domestic violence,
Por lo pronto, ningún acto de violencia doméstica.
and you need to see about obtaining a behavioral health assessment and following through with any recommendations.
Y también ver que te hagan un examen de asesoramiento de comportamiento y que haga usted lo que le recomienden.
Así será.
That'll be done.
Thank you, Ms. Ballesteros.
Gracias, señorita Ballesteros.
Gracias a ustedes.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shayad, and you, sir, are
Buenas noches, soy la juez Chayet. Señor, ¿cuál es su nombre?
Guillermo Vázquez.
Guillermo Vázquez.
Mr. Vasquez. I have warrant here charging you with transportation of dangerous drug for sale, transportation of
Tengo-
narcotic drug for sale,
Tengo aquí transportación de venta de droga y transportación de venta de droga, droga peligrosa.
These are alleged to have occurred. Looks like April of 2018.
Supuestamente estos ocurrieron abril 2018.
We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges.
Le vamos a nombrar un abogado de oficio para que lo represente en estos cargos.
Did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions, noting that looks like the defendant was extradited from Colorado?
¿Alguno de los abogados tiene algo que decir, notando que al acusado parece ser que fue extraditado de Colorado?
Yes, please, Judge. So if the court is inclined to follow the state's recommendation, obviously they have more information than we do. We just have a warrant.
Su señoría, si se inclina a llevar a cabo la recomendación del Estado, ellos tienen más información de lo que tenemos nosotros.
Mr. Vasquez is just asking, I don't know how comfortable the court is, but he's asking for permission, to travel to Colorado if the court releases him.
Y no sé cómo se sienta su señoría, pero el señor Vázquez está pidiendo permiso de poder viajar a Colorado si se le permite.
That's fine, Judge. We will just be asking for release then. Thank you.
Está bien, su señoría, estaremos pidiendo entonces solamente liberación.
Anything further from the state?
¿Algo más por parte del Estado?
Judge, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that the defendant was extradited from Colorado. I thought this was just happened to be a warrant arrest.
You know, if you take a
Señoría.
look, the jail was the arrest location, and I'm betting that what it was is he was extradited.
Señoría, lamentablemente nosotros no sabíamos o no estábamos al tanto que era una extradición de Colorado. Nosotros pensábamos que había una orden de aprehensión. No, si ve usted la ubicación de arresto, fue una extradición de Colorado.
Okay. Judge, with that information, I'm sorry, I have to amend my request. I don't think that I can't recommend pretrial services on a case where he was extradited from another state.
Señoría, dado a eso, tengo que modificar las notas que había hecho. No puedo pedir que se reporte los servicios precondenatorios, ya que fue extraditado de otro estado.
So I'm going to ask that you do impose a bond. I'll leave the amount of that bond in your discretion.
Le voy a pedir que imponga una fianza y le dejo esa cantidad de fianza, su señoría, a su discreción.
If you do release him or if he posts the bond, I don't think it's appropriate that he be able to live in Colorado.
Si él puede, si es liberado, si puede él depositar la fianza, no creo que sería apropiado que él se pueda ir a vivir a Colorado.
At least initially, because he has been on this, because this warrant has been active for so long.
Por lo menos inicialmente, ya que esta orden de aprehensión ha sido activa ya por tanto tiempo.
And we need an assurance that he's going to participate in these court proceedings.
Necesito tal vez una aseguranza de que de hecho va a participar en estos procedimientos judiciales.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Further from defense.
Thank you, Judge. I would just like to mention that I know the court has read the pretrial report, but just briefly, he's 2 on 6 on both scales, no NVCA flag, no victim, and Your Honor, has someone to take third-party custody. He is employed full-time, and most importantly, Judge, no other criminal history.
Su señoría, estoy muy enterado de que ha leído el reporte precondenatorio. En la escala sale 2 de 6, no hay ninguna bandera. Pasaría a a cuidados de una tercera persona. ¿Tiene empleo él de tiempo completo?
He will make arrangements to remain in the state, Judge, so we are okay with that, but we would just be asking for release to pretrial.
Y él puede hacer arreglos para quedarse aquí en el estado. Solamente estamos pidiendo que se reporte los servicios precondenatorios.
Preliminary hearing date's October the 16th at 1:30 in the afternoon.
La audiencia preliminar es el día 16 de octubre, la 1:30 de la tarde.
Bond is $10,000.
La fianza es de $10,000.
The bond is posted. You will be under the supervision of pretrial services.
Si la fianza se deposita, estará usted bajo la supervisión de los servicios precondenatorios.
You are not to leave the state of Arizona without permission of the court.
Y no puede salir usted del estado de Arizona sin permiso del tribunal.
¿Está bien?
Very well.
Thank you, Mr. Vasquez.
Gracias, señor Vázquez.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Just 1 second.
Your Honor, may the interviewer be excused?
You may. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Judge Fayed, and you, sir, are
My name is Abdi Fatah Abdurrahman.
in a complaint charging you with driving under the influence of intoxicating liquor or drugs, endangerment, driving on a suspended license. We'll appoint
Yes,
public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Abdirahman does not have any criminal history. We acknowledge that the allegations in the infam complaint are rather serious. But given a complete lack of criminal history, Judge, we would be asking you to consider release to pretrial. Thank you.
Preliminary date's October the 16th at 1:30. We have inconsistent statements. We've got statements that he started drinking after he went to work, and we've got statements that he's unemployed. I can't.
You can look at the judge.
I listen.
Okay. Okay.
I can't jump in.
Bond is $7,500. If you post the bond, you'll be under the supervision of pretrial services. You're not to drive without a valid license. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, have contact with any of the victims. Additionally, behavioral health and substance abuse evaluation and treatment as available while in custody and as directed by pretrial services if you are released. Other than in the course of evaluation and treatment, I'd suggest you not discuss these matters with anyone except your attorney. Thank you, Mr. Abdirahman.
Good.
Okay, I will change the box then.
Ando så jag tycker mig möda. No, alltså.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you are?
Thanks, Gia. Greg.
Also known as Gia Banks,
Yes, sir.
in a complaint charging you with aggravated driving under the influence of intoxicating liquor.
What was that related to? Sorry.
We'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you on these charges. And does either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Yes, please, Judge. So real briefly, Ms. Banks just reported to me that she is the sole caregiver of her mother. She has one felony conviction, Judge, which is relatively old. 2006 is the charging date, and 2012 is when she went back to Maricopa County, got her rights restored. No failures to appear in the last 2 years, Judge. She's lived in Tucson for 10 years. She cooperated with police, Your Honor. The interim complaint mentions that. For those reasons, we are asking you to consider release to pretrial supervision. There is no other criminal history that I'm seeing. Thank you.
Anything further from the state?
No, Judge, I have nothing to add to my recommendation in pretrial services, except just to emphasize the danger to the community that she posed.
Preliminary hearing date is going to be October the 16th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Bond will be $5,000. If you post the bond, you'll be in a decision of pretrial services. You're not to drive without a valid license. You're not to consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. There's to be no alcohol in your residence, and you're not to go anywhere that alcohol is served or consumed.
Just about most of it. Is there a way that you can please? Oh, you said fast.
Your Honor, I guess she is asking if the court will consider
Reducing the bonds?
reducing the bond. Judge. I know the court's ordered one, but
The
she
bond,
just wants me to.
the bond is half of what the state has requested. This is alleged to have occurred at 11 o'clock, 10:30 this morning.
Yes.
And I agree that poses some public danger. All right, thank you. Good evening. I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Good evening. My name is Jerry Chester Beelan.
Mr. Beelan. I have a number of things here for you. We'll start with the warrant out of Pima County Superior Court charging you with possession of paraphernalia, possession of narcotic drugs, alleged occurred on or about the 10th of February. We'll appoint Public Defender's Office to represent you on these charges, set an arraignment date of October the 14th at 1:30. And did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Yes, please, Your Honor. It appears that Mr. Bellin did participate in the Smart Court program. He was ultimately terminated and indicted by the state, but he participated. He maintained contact with pretrial services, and then after the state charged him, I don't know why he missed the summons. He admitted that he knew he had a warrant but couldn't make it to court. Sounds like he was struggling, Judge. For those reasons, we are asking one more chance in pretrial. He's proven before that he can make contact with them, and he's asking for one last chance to attend court from out of custody.
Actually, his last contact with pretrial services was in February. Even though he was arraigned pretrial services in May, he did
Judge, I think
did not make contact and he did not appear.
I may be wrong, Judge, but I think the Smart Court program, once they take over, I think they modify a few things, but I will defer to the court.
That's fine, but he was in custody on May 30th. He was released to pretrial. He did not make contact with pretrial, and he did not appear for his arraignment.
I see.
Bond will remain at the $500 that was set. Pretrial services, if the bond is posted, no alcohol or illegal drugs. But that's just one of a number of things that we have. Of a warrant out of Sarita. Charges that go back to November of 2016. Driving under the influence of intoxicating liquor drives, having an open container of alcohol in a motor vehicle, and driving on a suspended license. Looks like you perhaps had a court date set for early July based on the date of the warrant. Warrant amount, which will remain, is $2,499. Craig Becker is appointed to represent you. Next court date's October the 8th at 3 o'clock. And then we have charges out of Tucson City Court. For obstruction, second highway, on the 30th, failing to appear in court. Charges from December 21st 2023 for criminal trespass, failures to appear in court. Your next court date on this will be October the 31st at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you are still in custody, there will be a video review hearing a couple days before that. You're not to drive without a valid license, consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You're not to ride to 2525 North Winslow or to the vicinity of Flower and Dodge. Thank you.
It's yours.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you are?
Eric Jacobs.
Yeah, so she said, yeah, that's sort of treaty, so she really. I mean.
Mr. Jacobs, I've got a couple of different things. Either complaint charging possession of dangerous drugs, possession of paraphernalia, possession of narcotic drugs. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges. And did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Yes, Judge, we just asked that you set a smart court date, and we are willing to waive time from the standard 20 days to the 45 days on the SMART program. Thank you.
Anything further from the state?
No, Judge, just that he is steps eligible, so we just ask that you read the colloquy with him.
It's really been modified a great deal, but what they're talking about is a program, essentially a treatment program, that if you successfully complete the terms of the program, the charges will be reduced or dismissed. Perhaps dismissed without ever being formally charged. But you have to comply with it. Now, did you want to do that?
Possibly. I need to speak to a lawyer about any and all of this actually. Or do I want to do this?
Can I talk to him for just 5 seconds, Judge?
Certainly.
Thank you. Judge, we're ready to go whenever the court is.
So
So did you want to participate in that program at this time?
yes, ma'am.
Your next court date on this file is going to be October the 15th at 9 a.m. Pima County Superior Court for a smart court hearing. You need to be present at that time. You're going to be released to the third-party custody of pretrial services. You'll participate in monitoring and under their supervision. That will include no alcohol or illegal drugs. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
With time being waived for preliminary hearing. Preliminary hearing date will be November 21st at 1:30. I also have an interim complaint charging you with 2 counts of burglary. Did either counsel, point public defender's office, and did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions on this charge?
Million. Thank you.
All right. This one will run a little bit differently than your other matter. So your next court date on this is October the 28th at 1:30. You will be released to pretrial services. And you will comply with monitoring and treatment under their supervision. And you won't return to within 3 blocks of that incident location. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jacobs. Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are?
James Keeler.
Mr. Keeler, I have several things here for you. Interim complaint charging with possession of dangerous drug, possession of paraphernalia. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges. Did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions, noting that there is a probation violation warrant out of Pinal County?
Yes, Judge, we just asked that you set a nominal bond, and we would still like the court to set a smart court date, but we'll have the same preliminary hearing. We won't waive time on this one since he'll be in custody anyway. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Samihan, did you say something about waiving time in smart court?
No,
Yeah,
not
since
waiving
he's in
time.
custody.
Okay, yeah, because this is not a steps eligible case, so,
Right,
okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
that's okay.
Father.
All right, bond will be $1,000. If you post the bond, you'll be in a decision of pretrial services. Your next court date is going to be October the 15th at 9 a.m. and that's a smart court hearing. Preliminary hearing date right now is October the 16th at 1:30. No alcohol, legal drugs, and behavioral health assessment and recommended treatment. And then you have the probation hold out of Pinal County, and they'll deal with that separately. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shea, and you, sir, are
Marcelo Madrid.
Mr. Madrid. Interim complaint charging you with domestic violence, strangulation. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and if either counsel wish to be heard further on conditions.
Yes, please, Judge. Real briefly, I think Mr. Madrid, I acknowledge he has one conviction from 2016, but he's relatively young. He's 26. Your Honor, I understand there's an NBCA flag, but we would be asking you to consider release to pretrial supervision. But if you're not inclined, we would be requesting a $2,000. Thank you.
And yes, Judge, if I may, I would just ask the court to know that this is a strangulation case, and ask the court to take in consideration the lethality risk in these types of cases, and the safety of the community and the listed victim. Thank you.
Preliminary hearing date is going to be October the 16th at 1:30. Bond is $15,000. You post the bond, you'll be in a decision of pretrial services. Beginning right this moment, you have absolutely no contact with Alicia Lujan. You don't go to her residence or workplace. No alcohol or illegal drugs. I'd suggest you not discuss this matter with anyone except your attorney. If you have personal belongings at Ms. Lujan's residence, you may return to the residence once with a law enforcement officer to obtain those personal belongings. Thank you, Mr. Madrid.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, on this next one, Mr. Morales, I accidentally checked the box for a smart court hearing, but he's post-indictment, so I'm not asking for a smart court hearing.
Yep, I figured that out. It's okay.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Alberto Morales.
Mr. Morales. I have a warrant here out of Pima County Superior Court. Charging you with possession of narcotic drugs, possession of paraphernalia, alleged to have occurred on or around the 19th of July. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on that charge. Set an arraignment date of October the 14th at 1:30 in the afternoon, and did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Yes, please, Judge. Mr. Morales is asking for one last chance to attend court from out of custody, and I have nothing further to add.
Your Honor. Can I speak?
I cannot stop you from speaking. You might want to talk to the public defenders before you have it say anything, but
I just wanted to say that the reason why I missed one of my court dates is I was having issues with just my phone, just at my car and everything. And I didn't even know the court date actually, because there was just I missed the mail, and um that's why I missed that one. And it was just completely, I didn't really know that date.
you have, you have other matters
but-
where you've missed court dates as well.
Yes, ma'am.
And you got
I
new
do
charges
understand
today.
that.
And you got new charges today. Bond will remain at $500, pretrial services if you post the bond, no alcohol or illegal drugs.
Thank you.
Then we have new charges from today. For possession of paraphernalia.
Yes, ma'am.
Your next court date on this will be November the 5th at 8:30 in the morning. You're still in custody. You need to notify the court, although we're noting that you do have a call. Again, no alcohol or illegal drugs, substance abuse assessment and treatment. We also have charges from July 21st. Possession of paraphernalia and violation of a court order. Which was specifically that you weren't supposed to be using any drugs or have any paraphernalia. Your next court date, and this will be October 31st at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You are still in custody. This will be set for a video review on the 29th at 1:45. Again, no alcohol or illegal drugs, and a substance abuse assessment and treatment. All right, thank you. Actually, I need that file back again for just a second. Not from you. Yeah. Hold on, Mr. Morales. I thought I had done this paperwork and I guess I did. You also have new charges from today for possession of paraphernalia. Your next court date on this is going to be November the 5th at 8:30 in the morning in Pima County Justice Court. If you are still in custody, you need to contact the court and let them know, although I have noted that you are in custody. And again, no alcohol and drugs and a substance abuse assessment and recommended treatment.
Is there, ma'am, I'm sorry, but is there any way that I can be released on possible stricter, like conditions? I do have some family matters on the 21st. I understand that I have been neglecting my obligations. Absolutely 100%.
You can discuss that. You can discuss that with your attorney and with the judge that you'll see on the 14th, which is before the 21st. So
14th.
The attorney moves 15th.
good evening. I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Giovanni Ortiz, Your Honor.
Mr. Ortiz, in a complaint charging you with domestic violence, aggravated assault. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges. And did either counsel wish to be heard further on conditions?
Yes, please, Judge. We understand this is also a DV strangulation case, but the court should note Mr. Ortiz is just 20 years old. He has no felony or criminal history whatsoever. Pretrial Services does not report any active orders of protection. He's lived in Tucson for 10 years. His mother can provide third-party custody and transport. He has strong community ties, Judge. For those reasons, we are asking you to give him one chance on pretrial services release because of his complete lack of criminal history. Thank you,
Anything
Judge.
further from the state?
No, Judge, just rely on my written recommendation. Thank you.
Preliminary hearing date is going to be October the 16th at 1:30. Bond is $7,500. If you post the bond, you'll be under the supervision of pretrial services. Absolutely no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, no acts of domestic violence. No contact beginning right now with Megan Moylan. You don't go near her residence or her workplace. Residents, that means the entire apartment complex. You can go back once with law enforcement to get your personal belongings. Behavioral health and substance abuse assessment and treatment as available while you're in custody or as directed by pretrial services upon your release. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Ortiz.
Back on.
Your Honor,
Yes.
this is the jail. Quintero Victor has been sent out to the hospital, so we're asking if he could be considered, please.
I couldn't understand you.
Oh, Your Honor, the next defendant on the list was hospitalized, so I think I would be asking to continue him to tomorrow morning if the court's okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay.
Would that be Mr. Quintero?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shea, and you, sir, are?
Mr. Zachary Ruja.
Mr. Ruza, I've got a couple things here for you. All right, the first one is going to be dismissed. It's like in a complaint charging with possession of dangerous drug, possession of paraphernalia. The state is dismissing those charges. But you do have a probation hold. We also have a warrant out of Marana for false reporting to law enforcement, possession of paraphernalia, and failure to appear. I'll appoint Janet Altshuler to represent you on this. $100 bond. Court date will be, looks like tomorrow at noon. But as I said, you do have the adult probation hold, so you'll be seen on that when Superior Court decides to do that. Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are?
Good evening, Your Honor. Frank Wilson.
Mr. Wilson, interim complaint, or excuse me, warrant out of Pima County Superior Court, charging you with 4 counts of endangerment, 1 count of criminal damage, 1 count of driving under the influence of intoxicating liquor or drugs, 1 count of driving, the extreme driving under the influence of intoxicating liquor or drugs, at alcohol concentration of 0.15 or greater. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges. Does either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Yes, Your Honor. All we want to say is Mr. Wilson's asking for one last chance to go to court by himself after being supervised by pretrial services. That is because it seems like he missed the mail. And that's it, Judge. Thank you.
Anything further from the state?
No, Judge, thank you.
Remember, that's October 14th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Bond will stay at 25 services. If bond is posted, you're not to drive without a license or possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs.
Your Honor, may I speak?
Mr. Wilson.
Your Honor, I haven't been in town since July. I was never notified of this. I would have taken care of it. I would never disrespect the court in such a way, but I've got medical issues. I've been unemployed for 3 months because I'm taking care of them. I don't have any bond money. I mean, I would be happy to show up to the court. But it's not fair. I mean, this blindsided me as well. I have no idea that I had a warrant out for my arrest.
Well, maybe that you've got a problem with your mail, because it does appear that it was.
No, I haven't been here. I literally got back on the 28th. I had to come back early because my teeth broke. But I wasn't expecting to be back till, November. But I never even knew this was coming up. I mean, I'm totally blindsided, and I'm not in a position.
We'll talk to your attorney about it. Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
You'll meet with your attorney.
I'm just sitting here.
And that's all I have, counsel.
And you, Judge.
Have a good
To see you. Have a good night. It's always good to see you, Judge.
Depending on how much you're working this week, I'll see you later.